everybody. I will talk today about the DevOps basics, and the anatomy of the session is like this. Is software development just coding? What is DevOps? DevOps values, wall of confusion, and DevOps toolchain. And then is DevOps Engineer a title or not? And then I will call for action. Okay, let's start this journey. So I just want to remind you that our vision in Unovel is that everyone can code, everyone can live with hope and dignity. Because of that, we have such kind of videos to promote the culture of software. As I told you many times, it is a culture, it is an ecosystem. And we are like contributing to promote this culture. And with these videos and with the training and the upskilling, what we are offering in Unovel. So now, is it only that I master Python and JavaScript and that's it? Of course not. Because it is the software development or software engineering is more than just coding. Coding is part of the story, but we have testing, we have DevOps, SRE, architecture, we have the concept of non-functional requirement, we are talking about security, observability, testability, performance, scalability, resilience, operability, many topics. And of course, we have a culture and technical aspects. So we have soft skills, hard skills, meta skills, leadership, attitude. So it is many things. It consists of many things, Okay. So here, because of that, in the past, we were like in the past we were thinking the need was that you need to be specialized in one field. It was called I-shape. But as we grow, as things start to be complicated, we started to talk about T-shape. You have a general knowledge and very specialized knowledge in one field. But now we start to talk about pie-shape. You are specialized in two fields and general knowledge in many things. But now things start complicated, and we started to talk about a comp-shaped, specialized in many fields and general many fields also. So is it complicated to that level? Of course, yes it is, but it is manageable, it is doable. It is not mission impossible. Because of that, we promote the culture of mastering the basics. So as if your way of thinking, your thinking process is like a Lego. You need to master the foundation, you need to master the basics, and from there you start to cook in or you start to build in step by step, little by little, your framework of thinking, your Lego. I call it your Lego. Let's take an example. For a software engineer, I expect the foundation for that is the basic software engineering practice, like low coupling, high cohesion, tests, code reviews, static analysis, and on top of that, you will build many other things. We'll explain more in such details. Because I promised to make my videos shorter, I will just throw ideas here. Okay, now let's go to DevOps. What's DevOps? There was a traditional story in the Indian culture that they brought an elephant to blind people, and they asked them, "What's this?" Someone touched the rope, the tail. He said it is a rope. Someone touches the elephant's ear. He said this is a fan. Someone touches the nose of the elephant. Um, the blind person, the other person said it is an arrow. So, and this is like similar to DevOps. DevOps, many people have different definition, but here we adopt this definition. DevOps is a combination of cultural philosophies, practices, and tools. So it is a culture enabled by tools that increase an organization ability to deliver applications and services at high velocity. This is the WS definition. Okay, I talked in the last video about Agile. So what's the link between Agile and DevOps? DevOps is complementing Agile. So I talked with you about the Agile Manifesto last time. Here we are talking about Calm's value. From continuous integration, we are talking about continuous delivery. We are talking about software in agile working software. We are talking about services in production. We are talking about velocity in agile. And DevOps, we are talking about cycle time. We are talking about T-shaped developers. We are talking about full stack developers. We are talking about retrospectives. And agile, we are talking blameless postmortems. So what are Calm's values? Every letter represents one thing. C represents culture, A represents automation, L represents lean, M measurement, and S sharing. So culture, as I told you, like DevOps is a culture inside the whole organization. Automation, like everything, all during the whole life cycle, we need to automate as much as we can from the manual process, the continuous delivery, the continuous deployment, and so on. Lean, it is the focus on values, delivering value as quick as possible with a small batches size. And measuring, we are measuring everything. Metrics, we have metrics everywhere. And sharing, it is about knowledge sharing, collaboration, communication between all different stakeholders in the value chain. There is, when someone tell you about DevOps, they will tell you about a wall of confusion, because the development goal is different from the operations goals, because they were separate, like they were in different teams. Like the developer, they develop their code and they are aiming to deliver as soon as possible. Like their target is the speed of the delivery. But the operation, their target is the stability. They will push back changes until they stabilize the production. So this causes like a wall of confusion. Now, once we have DevOps, we have like the same team having development and operation, we remove this wall of confusion. Okay, and now when you hear about DevOps, they will tell you about continuous integration, continuous delivery, continuous deployment. So what is the difference between these terminology? Continuous integration consists of building software, automatically unit testing and deployment to an integration environment as staging, and then acceptance testing. So this is the continuous integration. But what's the difference with continuous delivery, this new concept, that you deliver to production? After the continuous integration, you deliver the production, but in a manual step. Continuous deployment is different. What's the difference between continuous delivery and continuous deployment? Instead of manual step, we have automated step that it like after the acceptance testing is successful, it will be automatically pushed to production. Okay, is it a small ecosystem DevOps? Of course not. As you can see, like the periodic table of DevOps tool, you have different set of tools, thousands of tools. I would say hundreds of tools. Maybe I'm exaggerating. I don't know if it is thousands, maybe, but at least it is tens or hundreds of tools in database, CI, deployment, release management, security, collaboration, etc., etc. It is a huge system. It is a huge ecosystem. And this is a new way you look at the tool chain. It consists of collaboration, building the software, testing, deployment, running. It is a huge set of applications. It is a big ecosystem. As you can see, DevOps is not a small thing. Let's take an example. For source and control version, we could have GitHub. CI servers, we can have Jenkins. For building software, Maven. For testing, JUnit or Selenium or Appium. And deployment, we have Ansible. And you will hear a lot about Jenkins, but many times they just make it DevOps a small thing. It is Jenkins. If you are a DevOps engineer, you know Jenkins. But this is as I have shown you already, like in the couple of slides ago, the previous slides. It is a big ecosystem, and Jenkins is one of small set of these tools, of this ecosystem. But what's Jenkins? It is a free and open source automation server. It helps to automate and to optimize the components of software, including building, testing, deployment, and facilitating continuous integration and continuous delivery. So the one who wants to work as a DevOps engineer, he needs to master Jenkins. One of the tools is Jenkins. Now let's answer this question. Is DevOps Engineer a title? In the beginning, in my journey, early journey of DevOps, I thought it is not a title because it is a culture. If you say it is a title, then you narrow the scope, and the whole teams will depend on the DevOps engineer, and they will throw the ball, and they will say it is not our responsibility. But even with that approach, there was something missing. So now I believe, and as you can see from the left side of the this slide, I checked like in LinkedIn, there are many titles with DevOps engineer. It is a crucial part of the whole software lifecycle, but at the same time, it is needed as a title, but it should not be limited to that person. The whole software engineering team, they should have the capability, they should have the technical capability of DevOps engineer plus the culture. Now we will conclude soon, but before we conclude, I will just remind what we discussed here. We discussed about what's DevOps. I give you some introduction, reminder of the UNOVAL vision. What's DevOps? What's CI/CD? The DevOps toolchain, Jenkins, the ecosystem of the DevOps. Is DevOps a title? Now let's, before concluding, I will call for action as usual. And as I mentioned many times, I will keep mentioning, learning is an actionable knowledge, as mentioned by Radwan Khayyat. And Robin Sharma mentioned, ideation without execution is nothing more than delusion. So no idea is going to work unless you do the work. Because of that, I will call for action now. So now, what's the first action or learning you learned or you will take an action here? Another one, second one, third one, and maybe fourth one. I will give like a couple of seconds of silence. Maybe you put it down. And then I hope you enjoyed this video. And please stay tuned for more videos for our trainings, and see you again in another video or another training or another upskilling. Bye.